I'm not being controlled by Kokichi, 'cause he's not the mastermind.
Her mind is blown.
Is that really true?
Kokichi was just messing with you. I never once said he was the mastermind.
But there is a mastermind.
Then it was all Kokichi's lie?
Yeah, that is what that would mean. With the key from the last motive, he was the first to learn the truth of the outside world. Based on his deductions, he fabricated a lie to make you all think he was the mastermind.
I see. Kokichi's own deductions.
Do you want to know? Then I'll tell you. I've been kind of bored with all the lying, so everything I say now will be the truth, okay?
His deductions got a lot of details right, though. Pretty impressive, honestly.
But what about the exosols? If Kokichi wasn't the mastermind, how'd he control them so easily?
He just used Mew's remote control, right?
Mew's remote control?
So the remote that Kokichi was using was made by Mew?
Oh, you didn't know? Mew not only invented the electro bomb and the electro hammer, she also made a remote control that can hijack any electronic device.
Then why didn't she use it before trying to kill Kokichi?
Kokichi just slapped a receiver on each of the exosols and took them for a spin.
Hey, isn't it a bit unfair to tell them all that?
Fairness has nothing to do with it. I offered up that info purely out of spite. Spite towards you for trying to usurp the mastermind's role and take over the game.
Confirmation that there is a mastermind.
Well, whatever. It's way more interesting to defeat an enemy who plays dirty anyway.
What's going on? It seems like they're actually fighting.
There's no doubt about it. Kokichi isn't the mastermind.
Were we just being dragged around by Kokichi's lies the whole time? What were you trying to accomplish by pretending to be the mastermind, Kokichi? Now you're gonna be all quiet? This is so frustrating!
Then if he's not the mastermind, who is?
Why are you so certain there's even a mastermind to begin with?
Okay, never mind. What?
What do you mean?
Why, that's on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know.
But I wanna know!
The real mastermind is not Kokichi. Who could it be? Thinking it was Junko Enoshima. That can't be it. She's dead. We've never come into contact with her. If so, who's done this? Who's planned his killing game?
Anyway, this conversation has flown off the rails. Let's get things back on track. This class trial is to figure out who the culprit is, not the mastermind. So, yeah, get to talking.
I agree. Before we worry about who the mastermind is or what my intent is, let's figure out the culprit!
But Monokuma doesn't know who it is. How is he supposed to confirm the results?
We don't need to worry about that. Let's just leave the decision-making to Monokuma. But you gotta run the class trial too, so no mistakes, okay?
Are you trying to get me to do something?
You've been watching us solve all these cases, but you can't be a spectator anymore. You're gonna participate in the class trial from here on out.
Huh?
So, let's resume this class trial. Monokuma, you gotta use your brain too. This will be the final class trial. Me versus Monokuma.
You versus Monokuma?
When I play a game, I intend to win.
How is it him versus Monokuma?
But what's considered
part of the
winning
trial.
in this game? Beating the other players? No. Beating the game's mastermind is the true victory. And that's how I'll win! That's why I decided to challenge Monokuma!
Oh, to lure out the mastermind. Okay.
If I can deceive Monokuma till the very end, then I'll be the winner!
You're dragging us around like this? Just so you can win a game?
Sure.
As I suspected, your thought process defies all logic.
But since the outside world is in total ruin, this game is the only entertainment we have. At least I can enjoy this game to the fullest and feel good winning.
If it's the last thing you do on Earth, sure, win a game, why not?
Your way of thinking is just chaotic.
Remnant of despair? Eh, whatevs. Let's just get this started.
Yeah. But he didn't use the flashback light, so there'd be no way he would remember what a remnant even is.
If the students or Monokuma don't know who the culprit is, then I'm the winner.
Don't underestimate me, or Shuichi and the others, for that matter.
Wait, we're teaming up with Monokuma now? Hang on.
It's just like a remnant of despair to try to assume control of the game. But these kids are all that's left of Hope's Peak Academy. If you think they're gonna make this easy for you, you better think again.
Whose side are you taking here?
Side? Isn't it obvious? Monokuma joins your party.
Ultimate Despair Headmaster.
Who invited you?
Now, let's join forces and unravel the truth behind this case.
Well, we were going to do it anyway.
Let's just ignore Monokuma. His actions are always beyond comprehension.
Yeah! Let's just focus on the case.
Hey, be quiet so we can ignore you.
Now, where should we start? We've already established what Kokichi is after.
He's just gonna keep talking anyway, isn't he?
In my experience, whenever you learn a new fact, you learn something else along with it.
So the fact that he isn't the mastermind implies someone else is?
Yes, let's look for that.
You warmed up to him real fast. I guess you are both robots.
So another truth comes out. That piece of evidence makes more sense now. The evidence that I couldn't wrap my head around. What evidence was that? Kichi's disappearance? I guess? You already know about that. Okay. Murder video?
This is it!
Sure.
Let's discuss the video of Kaito being crushed by the hydraulic press.
Yes, let's discuss that.
Kokichi said that he filmed that video to prove he was not the victim.
Again, spoilers, but yeah. Yeah, just a bit of splat.
But we know that Kokichi was trying to mislead Monokuma. So what about the video? It's pretty strange to present evidence that condemns you after all.
Then what kind of mistake was Kokichi trying to get me to make?
Maybe he crushed Kaito with a hydraulic press, so the cause of death would be unknown?
But if that were the only objective, there would be no need to film it. Discovering the crushed body would have been enough. No need to show us the film.
That's true.
I guess you're starting to fit in after all. If you get any cuter, I'm gonna hug you.
Yeah, he more just oversees everything.
Really?
He's the headmaster of the school, I guess.
There must be a reason you went out of your way to show us the body being crushed.
That's pretty much the plot of every game. It's a school where there's a bunch of students who have no memory outside the school. And they are motivated to kill each other. Well, he calls himself the headmaster. Kill each other, and if they can get away with the murder, then everyone else is killed and the murderer gets away for free. Whereas if they're found out in the class trial, then they get killed and everyone else continues living until the next murder.
No reason, really. That's just my twisted personality.
You're lying again, Kokichi. There's a method to your madness. Wanted Monokuma to make a mistake, then showing us the video. There's something to do with trying to fool Monokuma. Taking the video of the murder, but keeping the victim's identity hidden. What does it show? What doesn't it show? The murder? No, it shows the victim, surely. But I'm assuming that's the word due to the V. I feel like the identity of the victim was pretty obvious, but... Sure.
The victim.
Yeah, there's various minigames. Some of which are pretty pointless, but... eh. More padding. No, that's a question for later. For now, we know that...
If you show the moment of Kaito's death, of course it would lead us to believe he died. Even if we can't positively identify the body, we would still believe Kaito was the victim. And that might be exactly the mistake Kokichi was going for.
What?
Does that mean the victims were switched?
Switched? Then it was some other dead body that got crushed by the hydraulic press?
What?
Where would he even get another body?
There should be plenty to choose from if you reuse the body of a former victim.
If there was an unknown body, then we could
We
guess
should
the
play more
victim
of
was
those.
switched.
I played the first one, not on stream, but back when I owned a DS.
But too bad! Switching the victims was impossible.
They're all on Steam now, aren't they?
The footage showed the body being crushed. When in the footage would they have been able to switch the victim? And we already established that the footage was not doctored in any way. The camera doesn't have any editing functions. Just play, record, and pause. Monokuma also said that no computer was used to edit the footage, remember?
Wish I kept my 3DS. Yeah, well, I got rid of it.
Damn it! Me and my big mouth!
Which means switching out the victim would not be possible. Also, if the victim was switched, then that would mean Kaito is still alive. We already discussed this so many times. The chance of that happening is impossible.
It might be possible.
Huh?
There could be a trick to make the switch possible. We just haven't noticed it yet.
Oh, and what trick is that? See? You don't know, do you? I already said it's impossible.
Maki's not wrong. There is a way it could be done.
Is there?
So we can't just give up here.
I mean, we did find Kokichi's clothes. So why did Kokichi take off his clothes?
Hey, Shuichi. I'll think harder about this as well. So, can you confirm whether or not the victims switch places? If Kaito is... alive or not?
Maki.
I don't like the thought that I killed Kaito. I don't want that.
Even if he wasn't crushed, he was poisoned. So... at least if he was crushed, he wouldn't have killed him, because she accidentally poisoned him.
Okay then. Let's talk about the possibility that Makiro mentioned. Himiko, if you call her that again...
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Then let's all talk it over together.
Together. And don't forget, you're not alone. Don't try to do everything yourself. It's only going to wear you out. Times are hard, you gotta rely on your friends.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Jeez, you guys are a stubborn bunch. There's no trick.
That's probably another lie.
However, if the victims were switched, then that would mean the footage was altered. how could it have been altered when we know that the footage wasn't edited?
If we could figure that out, maybe we'd know how they switched places.
At the last second, maybe the emergency stop button was pressed and then you pause the recording and then continue recording as soon as you lower it.
I knew there was a trick to that video the whole time. Kokichi made it, so it's 100% suspicious.
A trick to that video. What could it be? What's suspicious about it? Okay. Press, cut his coat.
There must be some trick to that
Electro
video.
bomb. Hang his front shutter.
That's what you all gotta figure out!
Oops.
There is no trick. You can check, but there's no editing function in that camera.
Did the placement of that camera seem suspicious to any of you?
Good point. Where was the camera? Okay, so that doesn't explain the camera's features, I guess.
The filming angle seemed unnatural, don't you think?
The person in that video. Was it really Kaito?
Something seemed off about that video to me. When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment.
Yeah.
Could it be that the video was shot at another location?
Okay, so maybe I
Any other bright
have to
ideas?
agree with
Come on, everybody,
Kibo
speak up!
when it stopped for that brief moment.
When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment.
Nope, wrong about that one. You think so too, right, Shuichi? Hydraulic press wouldn't stop when I lay underneath it, but it did stop for Kaito. There's obviously robophobia. I'll never forgive that bigoted hydraulic press.
Damn it!
When the hydraulic press stopped for a brief moment.
Okay, there we go.
I agree! Kibo is onto something. Isn't it weird that the hydraulic press stopped for a second? Because when Kibo and I first investigated that hydraulic press,
Yeah, every trial is like this. I like Kibo's little roll.
Yes, that's right. The hydraulic press kept lowering itself without stopping.
but in the video,
The hydraulic press stopped briefly, right before it crushed the body?
But why would it stop?
The safety feature, I'm assuming. Or the emergency button. One or the other. No, that's a control panel to the shutters. That won't be it. It's in the middle. Or up here. Yeah, I'm guessing it's this. The emergency stop button.
I see it! The only way to stop the hydraulic press is the force stop button.
An electro bomb went off in the hangar, which would have interfered with the safety function. There'd be no way to stop the hydraulic press unless someone used the force stop button.
When you say someone, you mean Kokichi, right? He was the only one there.
Actually, maybe I pressed it by accident. I don't really remember. So what of it? The press only stopped for like a sec. You can't switch the victim in such a short time, can you?
And if you stop recording and start recording again.
That's true.
There's also the question of how the bodies got switched while the camera was rolling. That would have clearly been caught on camera.
The camera was rolling.
Oh, I see. It wasn't just the press that stopped.
Huh? Huh? What do you mean?
If you stop something else at the same time you stop the hydraulic press,
Yes, I see it now. That's how the bodies were switched. If you stopped that, you could have swapped the bodies easily. Really? Yep. 2 of them in a row. That's a first. Now, where is it? Not the hammer. There it is. Perfect.
I see it! The culprit stopped the video camera at the same time as the hydraulic press. Then, while the camera was off, they switched the body under the hydraulic press. After the body was swapped, the press and the camera were started simultaneously.
I'm betting it was Kokichi's naked body. But why did he flush the clothes? Why not just leave the clothes on him? If they couldn't raise the press, then they'd never see the clothes in the first place. And the whole time it seems like he saw the white sleeve on his arm.
So it just looks like the press stopped for a moment.
That's what I've been saying this whole time!
When did you ever say that?
So they stopped at the same time. The camera position did seem odd to me. But now I get it. The trick wouldn't work unless it was set up there.
Why?
Huh? Why?
To get the trick we just described to work, the camera had to be set up precisely.
Let's pin that down. Where was the camera set up? Well, I thought it was up here. I guess not. Well, we'll just guess here.
There!
Okay. Sure.
The video camera must have been set up somewhere around here.
So why did Kokichi say it wasn't him that did it?
To operate the press and the camera at the same time, you would have to be near the switch.
That's why the video was taken from that unnatural angle. If they were recording it like normal, they would have used a better angle.
I don't know if you can get much of a better angle.
And if it was recorded at such an odd angle, then that proves the trick was used.
Camera angles, huh?
Some leaps in logic, but
Looks
sure.
like your cosplayer experience is finally useful.
Well, cosplay doesn't really come up all that much in class trials.
There was a reason the camera was set up there, but also a reason for the height. When the press was stopped, you couldn't really see who was inside it, correct? That was intentional. The body is mostly hidden by the press, making the swap easier.
Can we see one frame forward to see if that sleeve changes at all? Like the arm?
The camera must have been placed at such a high position, so it would produce that angle.
I wonder if they used that tripod in the hangar to adjust the camera's height.
Did they get that from the warehouse too? Jeez, that place is like a 4D pocket.
You don't get to make that reference.
No?
Then, that logic is correct, right? Kokichi used that video angle trick and switched the victim in the hydraulic press. In that case, Kaito is...
Or he was crushed by the press. He was swapped with a different body. So Kaito's still alive!
Well, wait just a minute.
What?
So who's alive and who's
But I
dead?
just summed it up so nicely.
He was poisoned though, and he didn't get any antidote, so I don't see how he would be alive either.
Himiko, the different body you mentioned, what are you talking about?
The bodies from the other cases. Kokichi's the mastermind, so he... Wait, the mastermind?
Yeah, Kokichi isn't the mastermind, so... I don't think he'd be able to produce a body to switch out.
What?
Well, Monokuma, Do the rules allow for a body to be reused?
I
Very
don't think
well.
he'd really have
I'll answer
access to
that.
them.
You're giving
Like,
in
where are
pretty
they?
easily.
There's no morgue in this one, is there?
Well, it's crucial information to make the trial fair. This discussion is pointless if it's not clear what the culprit was allowed to do, right?
There was morgue in the last
You're
game,
a
wasn't there?
convenient mastermind, but I guess that makes defeating you worth my time.
Now then, regarding the reuse of a dead body. That is impossible! All the dead bodies have already been thrown away.
Thrown away is a
Thrown
bit...
away?
Yeah. A bit harsh.
The other bodies are gone? Then who did Kaito switch places with?
And how do you stop the camera? Yeah. Kichi and Kaito were the only ones in the hangar at that time. I guess he got rewound. And then just... Yeah, he could do it. They're the only ones present during the body swapping trick. Then the real victim was... the other person in the hangar. If it wasn't no body, it could only be...
What's wrong, Shuichi? Who did Kaito switch places with?
Come on, that leap in logic isn't that bad. Like for her, she should realize that there was only one other person.
Maki, I think I missed something very important here.
Something important?
If I have the timeline right, there were only 2 people in the hangar at the time. Which means that something had to have been decided before. I have to pin that down. Can't let anything escape me this time. Oh, okay, what are we doing? Exocell? No. V. There's a V coming to victim. Okay, the first word's victim. Wasn't sure if it was the first or second word, but... Victim what? H. That was a wild guess. That worked. Nope. Okay. What's the question? How were the bodies swapped? Only 2 people in the hangar. Oh, the victim helped. Yeah, I thought that. They must have been doing it together. I see now.
I can't believe I overlooked this.
What do you mean?
There were only 2 people in the hangar at the time the bodies were swapped. Which means they were working together.
Huh? Working together?
Why would Kikichi voluntarily crush himself?
The only 2 people involved in the swap were the victim and the culprit. The culprit was operating the camera and the hydraulic press, while the victim lay inside. If they switched places while the press and the camera were stopped, then the person who turned the camera and the press back on was the original victim. To put it simply, both people operated the press and camera at different times. An impossible trick, unless the victim and culprit agreed to cooperate beforehand.
Why would they do that? I mean, I guess Kaito will explain that.
Culprit cooperated?
But I assume that
Even possible?
is him in the...
It sounds bizarre, but perhaps that was the whole
But
point.
why would he team up with Kikichi?
Commit a crime that was so confusing, even Monokuma would be tricked.
I guess the same reason Gonta did what he did. He was just trying to free everyone from
Jeez, this
all
culprit's
this.
a real
And it's
jerk.
poison, so he would just die anyway. Just trying to kill everyone.
So, have you realized who done it yet?
The culprit of the case. My detective work hasn't failed me. The culprit is inside that exocell. Can only be them. Okay. But why would he do that? Let's find out, hopefully.